This is the Bob Cordaro Show on TV.
They fought for us, now he'll fight for you. The pursuit of justice and liberty. It's the Bob Cordaro Show on TV.
Congressman Dan Muser has made his mark in Washington, D.C. and Pennsylvania as a member of the Financial Services and Small Business Committees, with offices to serve you in Tunkhannock, Bloomsbury, Hamburg, Dallas, Lebanon, Berwick, and Pottsville.
My name is Charlie Wysocki, and I have bipolar disorder. But back in the day, I was a great football player.
Got some blockers out in front of him. Still on his feet. Wow!
Charlie's football talents landed him at the University of Maryland, where as a junior, he was one of the top running backs in the country.
At the 25, at the 30, down the left sideline, 35, the 40, across the 40, still on his feet.
He had tremendous balance and power and quickness. His ability to, get through the hole, bounce off of somebody, keep his balance and keep going, and even run somebody over.
Dave Pasella used to block for me, and I thought he was great.
The legend of Charlie Wysocki starts right on the practice field because he carried the ball to the goal line on every play, and no one else did that.
I remember Mark Tobel. He reminded me of Rudy.
He was a BMOC. He was the big man on campus. He loved the limelight. He had more friends. He was just a very friendly, sociable, great guy. Great to be around.
I had a lot of friends. I loved my teammates. Then something happened.
The 46th Annual National Football League Selection Meeting is now in session.
Then everything changed.
The day has come when there will be a realization of a dream, the dream to become professional football players. But the dream doesn't always turn out as everyone would hope it would. This then is the story of one man for whom the dream just turned into a nightmare, the story of Charlie Wysocki.
Draft day, there was a lot of people at my home. It was a party for me. But I didn't get drafted. I was bumming. All the people who thought I was a big man on campus, I'm not a big man on campus no more.
There was a tryout with the Dallas Cowboys as a free agent, but it lasted just 1 week. Something was wrong.
I got called into Tom Landry's office, and he said he didn't think that I would fit in with the Dallas Cowboys. And when I got back home, I just wanted to die. And I felt that I let people down.
This is the State Hospital in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. For the course of the next 7 years, Charlie would spend more than half of his days and nights in institutions like this one.
I was in that hospital for about 30 years. I was in that Clark Summit.
I remember vaguely hearing about Charlie not doing well.
We did hear rumblings that something happened with Charlie, a nervous breakdown. Using the term nervous breakdown, what do we know about mental illness?
Over the years, all of my teammates disappeared. Why my teammates didn't reach out to me? I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody from Maryland in 30-something years.
Charlie, he was going through life alone. Charlie's lowest point was a period of time where he just sort of gave up.
Everyone goes through hard times. Everyone suffers. A friend Dave did.
I was going through a very difficult time in my life. I was suffering through a very painful divorce. I felt for the first time in my life that I was a failure. A real key to getting over the shame was to reach out and not isolate myself and to talk about it with my friends, my former Maryland football buddies. I wanted to reach out to Charlie, and when I called, that was the first time that I spoke to him in all those years. And then I said, you know, Charlie, I'm going to come visit you.
Dave came up to see me. Dave took me out to Rob's. We just talked about old days.
We got something to eat, and we really spent, I think, the better part of 3 hours, talking. What happened? Fill the gaps in for me with your life, and what did I miss, and how did you get to here? And then when we were done, and as I drove home, I was just overwhelmed by this. I was like, look at my friend Charlie here. How can I help him? And I prayed a simple prayer. I felt an impression in my spirit that said, just be his friend. Just be his friend. That was the beginning.
He needs a friend. I need a friend. We all need friends. My friend Mark, he suffered too.
My son, Mark Jr., woke my wife up in the middle of the night, said he had chest pain and shortness of breath. My wife took him to the emergency room, and they said that he had myocarditis, a viral infection of the heart muscle, and he was in cardiac arrest. They tried to save him on the roof of the hospital when they arrived, but the neurologist met with my wife and I and explained that my son was brain dead. It was shock and despair. I think the loss of my son helped me to be more sensitive to others. It's almost like my son passing put me in a position to be a better friend to Charlie and help him.
When Dr. Tolbert got involved, I started getting respect. Anybody in my situation should have someone that knows something about the medical field. Hello?
One of my phone calls with him, he says to me that, hey Dave, I got a girlfriend. And I don't believe him. And he goes, yeah. He goes, my girlfriend Emma's helping me. Every time I would call him, he sounded better. And I'm like, wow.
Hey, Emma.
Hi. When I met Charlie, I don't know, there was just a connection there. He needed some kind of support and help because where he wasn't a good place. Charlie, say grace.
Without Dave, Mark, and Emma in Charlie's life, Charlie would be in a very bad place. Unfortunately, it may have even resulted in him saying, hey, I'm out of here. There's no point to it anymore.
Hey, my man. Nice seeing you too.
Nice seeing you. Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie was hot.
I know you.
I remember years ago, Ozio, he blocked for me.
Good morning.
My man. Dave, Dr. Tobel, Emma changed my life.
Hi, Emma.
Good morning.
There's no cure for my disease. So if you look for a happy ending, you'll probably be disappointed. But if we had some good times, man. My friends love me.
It's all about love, Charlie.
It's all about love, man. And I love them. Emma loved me, and I love her. That sounds like a pretty happy ending to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a big College Park homecoming welcome to Charlie Wysocki.
Congressman Dan Muser has made his mark in Washington, D.C. and Pennsylvania as a member of the Financial Services and Small Business Committees, with offices to serve you in Tunkhannock, Bloomsbury, Hamburg, Dallas, Lebanon, Berwick, and Pottsville.
Road Sculler Transport,
a higher standard.
Well, Charlie Wysocki has an extraordinary story, and there's more to be told. But I thought you'd enjoy that. I thought that you would like seeing a little bit behind the scenes. In fact, something that you probably haven't heard. A lot of people haven't heard of Charlie Wysocki besides his fame and his struggle. It's just a very powerful story. A young black man adopted by white parents, raised, that great stardom and the big fall, and now how he survived. Well, now we go to our Power Brunch Player of the Week, and that is Leah Gianacopoulos. And she is a realtor. I've known her for a couple of years, but she's just everywhere. And we run into her and have a lot of fun with her and all that, but more so than a friendly basis, you haven't been anywhere if you don't know who Leah is. Her billboards and presence are everywhere, and that's what a realtor needs to do. So we're going to talk to Leah about the realty business. We'll explore a little bit about how she got to where she is today and all of that. But welcome, Leah.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So Leah, tell us a little bit about your background. Where do you come from? And born, raised, all that kind of thing.
I am born in West Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I'm living currently now in Moosic, but I've been here pretty much my whole life. I had a job that allowed me at one point to be able to travel a little bit, so I got to see Philadelphia, New York, and New Jersey, but I'm back here and I absolutely love it. And most of everyone too is back here anyway, so I just feel like it's definitely a place where you can call home, and it's like a great home base is the best way I guess you could put it. But I am originally from here, and I've just always loved real estate, and it's it's a weird, funny story.
How does this bug? I mean, were you thinking you would be a property owner, a property manager? I mean, you're sort of doing all of that now anyway. But what got you interested in this?
It's a funny story. I always loved real estate. So when the internet came to be during my time of snow days back in grade school, I'll never forget, you can go online and start looking at the 6 pictures they allowed you to put up. So I'd always do that on a snow day. And then I'd beg my parents every time we got to go for ice cream in the summer and we got to go for a ride. It was either between me or my brother. I'd always pick to go drive through Glenmara or all these houses, or go, if they were doing new construction, I'd beg my dad, I'm like, can we just go in? There's no doors. And he's like, no, that's illegal. And I'm like, why? There's no doors. But I always loved it. And then once they started building the Trips Park development where I was, my friends and I would go for walks, and my one friend can tell you all the time, she always says that you were born to be in real estate because you used to torture me. And we'd go for walks and you'd be like, wait, let's just go look at these houses real quick. She's like, we weren't anywhere in that direction. And then you would be like, no, let's just go look at the houses. But I'm very fortunate. Sunita has been, who's my broker, Aurora, has been in our life for a long time between my grandparents and everything. So it actually came to be, my mom always wanted us to get them just to have it on the side. But my brother came home and said he was getting his real estate license. And I thought to myself, no, you're not. I'm getting it. And so I was like, okay, game on. I'll finish before Joey does. Well, Joey never ended up finishing it. He totally went a totally different career.
What year is this now?
2012, 2013.
Okay.
And so 2012 was when I started, because I officially got licensed right in 2013 because it just hit the 10-year mark. And Joey was like, I'm not doing this. I'm on the criminal side. I'd rather stick there. So then I just started doing it on the side, but I really loved it. So then I really it took off, and I've never looked back, and I truly love it. And working for who I consider the queen of real estate, Sunita, she has literally, I've been very, very, very fortunate to work underneath her, because she really has, she's doing this over 30 years. So she's taken me under her wing and has showed me the ropes, and I've learned so much from her, and I eat, sleep, and breathe it now. I love it.
It is an incredibly competitive business. I look at, I was looking at the real estate section today in the newspaper, and I thought, look at all these realtors. And I know a lot of them. I mean, they're great personalities, smart people, all that. It's really an incredibly strong industry here.
Oh, yeah. It 100% is. We're really fortunate too, because Northeastern Pennsylvania, like I always tell everybody, is this really weird bubble that whatever's going on in the world with the market, it doesn't apply here. And some of it does, obviously, like the interest rates and everything, that's on a worldly, national thing. But it's like we're this weird bubble that like everyone just likes to flock here. But I think our area has provided a lot of opportunity to live here, but you're able to work in Allentown or the Lehigh Valley area and Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey. And there's so much opportunity that's provided to our cost of living. And there's so much transportation in different ways. And I mean, there's so many people that actually live here but work in these bigger cities that now are able to carpool. I know a few of my friends that are doing it. You know, they live here, they all moved back, bought houses here, but some of them are in Philadelphia. And so there's a few of them that they all can go together. You know, it's only 2-3 days a week. But I mean, it's definitely, it's definitely a different market than anywhere else, for sure.
I mean, I used to always look at it as though we never had a boom, we never had a bust, but we've had booms now.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have had booms.
Yeah.
Northeast Pennsylvania has been.
We haven't slowed down. I mean, knock on wood, it's great, but it's like a crazy competitive market still.
So you get into it in 2013. You start right off with ERA and Sunita Aurora. And it goes well right from the beginning. Were there fits and starts? Was it? I mean, was there ever a point where you said, now you're doing very well now, obviously.
Yeah.
But was there ever a point where you said, I don't know if I can do this? Was there ever that?
No, I never thought that. It started off kind of just like a part-time thing. It was fun. It was friends and family only. And then it just kind of escalated to like, I absolutely love it. I want to have my own company, not my own, but like do what Sunita does. I want to be a broker. So I always saw that kind of being like my realm of things. Yeah. And I like the one thing I love about every day is different. Not one day is ever the same. You have no idea. I mean, sometimes you do have those days that you want to pull your hair out and you're like, but other than that, I mean, I never ever go to bed and I'm like, oh, I got to get out of this or anything. I've never thought that at all. You know, there's been a lot of times I'm like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? But I mean, I think that goes with everybody in everyone's territory.
I watched my mother do it. She was a realtor with Century 21, Jack Ruddy in Dunmore, and then Rachel in Clark Summit. And she loved it. She did love it. But I've seen, you know, people that do it the way you do it, it's taken to a whole nother level. It really is.
It is. And I have to say, the resources that I have at ERA is definitely, we're bar none. I mean, our marketing, everything. And like I said, we always make sure we have a presence everywhere we go. I mean, we have over 100 agents and we have 5 offices. And the way she structured them, we have a presence in 10 different counties throughout northeastern Pennsylvania. So, I mean, I just feel like
we reached 32 here today, so maybe that'll expand.
Yeah. So I just have to say, like, the way she set up the company and the way I love the brand. I love ERA. I love the whole brand behind us. And I think that also on a national exposure helps too. So I think that's a really good thing. And I really do love what I do every day. Like I don't, like Sunday doesn't come and I'm like, oh. Like, not that you only work 5 days a week, but I'm in the office.
You probably work Sunday.
Well, I do work Sunday. Yeah, there's no days off, even on vacation. That does not apply. But even so, like I'm also in the office. I run the office as well. So I'm there by Monday. So I'm in the office usually Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you know, just to oversee and help with the agents and everything. And I really love all of our agents too. We have a great group, and it's everyone in our office. It's like a healthy competition. Like we make it fun. Like, you know, we do listing competitions, we do relocation, we have all different stuff. We do agent award dinners, Christmas parties.
There's no Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross.
No, it's like, right. It's like, it's a fun dynamic that we have to offer. And that's what I really like. You're as a realtor, you're your own independent contractor. So you are your brand. That's what I always say too. But I also think I love what the tools that we have behind us at ERA. There's a lot to offer, which is really, really good too. So, and the support and the guidance, I think, is huge. I don't think I'd be where I am if I didn't have Sunita. Yeah, honestly.
She's
the queen of real estate.
Character.
She is
Fabulous. But tell me, like, how many listings? Just for example, how many listings might you have? And others can sell them because they're multi-list and so forth. How many listings might you have how many do you have now?
I have 27 active and I have 22 pending right now. Okay. So I'm
so it's moving. They're moving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I listed 3 right before I went away and they all went the same day.
Yeah,
So, I mean, which was good. It was a little hectic on
Are we
vacation.
seeing still that pandemic demand? Even with the rates creeping up, and they crept up, but they're now substantially from where they were.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was crazy, that 2.5 and 3. And, you know, I don't know if we'll ever see that again in our lifetime, but I definitely think we're going to see them go down again. You know, obviously what goes up has to come down. But, I mean, we're back to like a normal rate, I guess is the safest way for me to say it. Like, this is where, you know, this is kind of where I bought my first house in 2017 was where these rates were. So I don't think it's too far off, but I think too, with all the opportunity we have coming in, I mean, Geisinger, everywhere you look, they just keep expanding. And so we have people coming in for jobs, all the other factories that are coming into the area. So, I mean, the thing is, you need a roof over your head. And the rental market too, I mean, also, I think Scranton, Pennsylvania is not what Scranton, Pennsylvania was from 2014. If you look now compared to where we were and where we are, I mean, Scranton is, you know, a lot of people love coming to Scranton because there's so much to do. I mean, if you just look at Penn Avenue right now, I mean, it just got built up and compared to what it was. And I mean, also just the downtown area itself. I mean, look at all the apartments they're putting in downtown. You know, that's just the demand that's there for everyone to come in, and the hospitals and the university. So I think
we've been blessed with some great developers between Scranton, Wilkes-Barre as well. We really have like real, you know, solid entrepreneurs whom you work with. And it's, I think that's made a huge difference.
Yeah, and there's one too in particular who's my buddy. He's been a great influence too, you know, giving me great guidance and mentorship as well, you know, as to where to go and what to do. So, and we are very lucky because I think every one of the developers that we have right now in the downtown Wilkes-Barre area as well is really, they have their heart and their soul in these projects, which is what you want. You want someone that really believes and has a vested interest in where you live and where they live.
And they're not out-of-towners.
These
are homegrown people. Well, even those that are not originally from here are now from here.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's great because I think there's like a huge collaboration, and I think it's like all of like, you know, a younger generation too, that it's like they're hungry. Like they want Scranton to be like the next New York City or Greenwich, Connecticut or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's what they want this area to be. And I think when you have people behind you that want our area to do well, you're going to bring other people into this area to do well. Yeah. So I think the combination we have going on is really great too. You know, I think it's like I said, it's working. What everyone's doing is really working.
Let's go back to the macro over your 10 years in the business. What was the most difficult year or years, if you can recall?
I mean, definitely starting out. You know, it's hard.
But how about for like, not so much for you, but for the business, so to speak? Were there any tough years that you can recall? Although you may not. I mean, I remember starting as a lawyer, my trajectory was upward. So you didn't notice that it wasn't maybe moving faster. Is it that kind of
I mean, when I got in, we were back to like rebounding from everything in 2008. And, you know, because like I got in 2013 and I really got into it in 2014. And that's when, you know, everything was starting to move. It's not at the pace it's at now, but I've never seen like anything like, you know, slow, like I shouldn't say slow. I don't know. I guess every year has always been a year that moves up. And I mean, obviously the last 3 years have just been, I don't even know where they went. They're not here.
Well, let's do something as part of this. By the way, we'll be talking with Leah on BCTV Extra when you watch on YouTube. But I'm looking to sell or I'm looking to buy. Let's look at both.
Mm-hmm.
I call ERA, I get Leah on the phone, you know, your number's here, all everywhere, your billboard, I see a billboard, I want to buy a house or I want to sell a house. I call you. What do you tell me to do?
Well, if you're looking to buy, I like to meet and I like to have a conversation. I always say to my buyers, you know, whether I do or don't know you, whether you're a complete stranger, I like to have like a conversation where I get to know what you're looking for, you know, see where your budget is, what you guys feel most comfortable. And it's not always what you're approved up to. It's also where do you feel comfortable as a housing budget? Like, you know, some people, they don't realize that there's budgets for everything, you know, because you have to think about utilities. You have to think about the taxes. So there's a whole different dynamic than just what am I approved up to? You have to think about what your budget is. So I kind of have that preliminary conversation where I get to have that conversation and see, where do you feel most comfortable? And then what are your needs? Like, what can you absolutely not live without? What do we have to have? Like, it's going to be a deal breaker if this house doesn't have it.
Amount of bedrooms, yard.
Right. Area, location,
parking,
school district.
whatever.
Do you want covered parking? Do you want a pool? Do you want a yard that could fit a pool? Do you want no yard? Like, there's just so many different, what style of house are you looking for? Do you want stairs? Do you want a ranch? Do you want a bi-level? But on the flip side, as a seller, I like to meet with you at the house, go over everything. And then we have a marketing presentation that I love, because I also think it's really showcases what I could do for you in your listing. I'm not just going to take your listing. I'm not going to just put it on the MLS. There's a whole other backside of everything that we do behind the scenes to get that to reach marketing, not just in Lackawanna, Luzerne, Pike Wayne County. Like, we do it on a national basis, because that's the one thing I have to say. We have the tools to do that, which is great. So there's, as a seller, I like to meet at the house, go over, see, our first meeting might not be where we sign the papers, or might not be where we list right away. There might be, you might be calling me to get my opinion on something, or should something be fixed before we hit the market, or, what do I think is going to be the best way to sell this place, or what's your situation? Like, the most important thing is knowing your buyer and your seller situation. Why? What is your why? Why do you need to move? Why do you have to buy? Because that's going to fuel that conversation totally different. Are you moving because it's time to downsize and you don't really care? You have a house already out of the area, so when it sells, or I have to move, I'm relocating for my job and it needs to be within 45 days. There's like two different speeds we got to move at. So I think that's the most important thing, is developing a relationship with your client. Like, I had a closing yesterday, a couple days ago, and the client was calling me, and I'm like, oh no, like, is this going to be the story where, like, the water heater goes, everything went, it was perfect in the inspection? And she's like, this is really weird, but can we be friends outside of everything? She's like, I was like, yeah. She's like, I just feel like you really took time to know my situation. She was great. It was her first time buying a home, young girl.
Well, Leah, we're going to continue this conversation.
So
a lot to talk about. We're going to do that on BCTV Extra, though. I hope you enjoyed being with us this week. I learned a lot. We're going to learn some more. Thank you for being with us. We're with you every Sunday, the Bob Cordaro Show on TV, WNEP TV, 11:30 a.m., and then on YouTube with BCTV Extra and all this great extra stuff. Great being with you. Hope to see you next Sunday. So Leah, we were talking about that relationship. And I remember my mother making friends with people and running into them, and they were so happy, and she helped them close, or she gave them a gift for all that. And it is a very personal relationship, because it's a very personal thing, selling your home or buying your home. I mean, it's a hell of a responsibility, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with people's financials too. Like, this is a pretty big decision, whether you're looking to buy or sell, on both sides, So I also think that you just have to take the time to know the client and what they want and what they feel. And you can't, like I always say, like, I'll show you 4 houses or I'll show you 400 houses. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I love what I do, so I don't care how many we're going to look at or what. I never want anyone to feel like, oh, you can only look at 2 or 3 houses. That's not what this job's about, But yeah, so she called me and I said, yeah, sure. And she's like, I know that's really weird. And I was like, no, it's not. I was like, it's fine. I was like, I've been invited to people's weddings, their kids' first birthdays.
You've been part of one of the most important things in their life.
Right.
I mean, they get it. They get it.
So, I mean, and I just said, I was like, oh, that was really nice, So I do like, I think there's a lot of rewards that come with this job too, like the relationships that you form outside of the business and everything like that. So, and I always say you have to be social, obviously, to be in this business. But I mean, I could talk to a wall, so I guess it's okay.
So you're young. You've been in this business, but it seems like forever in a way.
Yeah.
That you've always been a presence in local real estate. But you're still, early 30s, right?
Yeah.
How do you look at, you start talking about a lot of the positives. I know you travel a lot, but you're here. You're always doing something. As a young person, do you promote this area for other young people?
100%.
Tell them, look at how great this is.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it really is. There's so much, there's a lot of opportunity here. But I mean, the nice thing is you could pick up and go to New York City for the weekend and be back on Sunday night, you know, like, and leave early Sunday or Saturday afternoon, or you could leave Saturday night just to go to dinner, have a few drinks, stay over and get up and leave, you know, like it kind of is you have an area where there's so much opportunity, but you can also live here comfortably, which is nice. And like I said, like the downtown area itself, like there's just so much to do now, like compared to like when I was in college here, you know, it was nice, but it was like, we didn't have half of what we have now. So I think that I'm a big proponent of this area. And I definitely think that if you're able to have the opportunity and this is on your radar to want to come up here, I definitely encourage it, because I also think it's a great place to raise a family.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like there's such a community here. There really is. So I think that's really important too. You know, I mean, every area has, you know, their ups and downs. Like there's no perfect area. So I also think that's the other thing too. Like we live in an area that like, you know, it's small, yet it's not that small, you know? We're not in like some one lane little road where, you know what I mean? Like town where, you know, there is a lot that goes on here. And I think the downtown area is great. There's a lot that you could do on just a Saturday afternoon between the shopping, the hair, the blowouts, the nails, you know.
Studio RD.
Yeah, it's Studio RD. Hey, it's so social there. Then you could go get your nails done, your hair done, a blowout, go get an outfit, then you're ready for Saturday, you know? Buy your house first, then you go get your hair done, and then you're good to go. Go get a smoothie. There's so much to do. But no, really, all kidding aside, if you think about it, we've really come a long way, you know? So
I always looked at it as a miniature big city instead of a big town. It has all the dynamics, as you say, all the dynamics of much larger cities. And I lived in D.C. and I lived in Philadelphia and New York and Los Angeles. And I'm like, no, this has it all. And we had a peculiar rut, less so now, maybe with your generation. I always said it's easier to get into a rut here than a lot of other places. But you don't have to be in one.
No. And it was funny. I was on vacation on the West Coast a couple weeks ago, or not even a couple weeks ago, but we were in LA and I loved it and it's great. And I remember when I was 20 some years old saying I was moving out here, and I was like, absolutely not. That will never happen. Like I could not wait to get home. Like I had fun, but like that big city dynamic of like, you are so lost in the shuffle out there. And not even like from a business perspective or anything. It's just like you go to a bar, like no one knows your name. Like you're just like, yeah, what do you want? Not in a bad way, but it's like at least here you can have a conversation with somebody, you know? Yeah. You're not looked at like you have 17 heads. Like
now our housing stock is still older though, by and large.
Yeah.
Now, I do notice that a lot of older homes are getting repurposed, restyled, reinvigorated. But between the housing stock, some new developments, some reinvigoration of the old housing stock, and then the apartments that are being built around town and then downtown. You know, John Basilica just opened the Perotti Cigar Building.
It's amazing.
Gorgeous. The South Side, you name it, Charlie Jefferson's buildings.
They're awesome. They're all great.
I mean, you feel transported. Mamano and the Donahues. And you say, these apartments are remarkable.
And they all have their own unique thing that they bring, you know, like and they're all beautiful. Like, so I think too, it's like, it's nice if one's filled and you want to get into the other, there's none like that. You're like, oh, like everything is beautiful. Like, you know, so I think we're lucky. Like I said prior, like we are really lucky with the people that are really putting an interest in downtown Scranton. I mean, obviously John's one of my good friends. So I just think he's doing a great job, but so is everyone else. Like, you know, I was fortunate to grow up with the Donahues, you know, back in West Side, and to watch people that you grew up with and do what they were doing. Like, that's pretty awesome too. And Donnie Mamano is a great person, and so is Charlie. So I think everyone is really, and they all have the same goal. Like, they all want the city to do well, which I think is nice, you know?
Do those, you know, 30-something is the sweet spot that we need here. Do those housing options enhance the opportunities for the 30-somethings to be here, to stay here, to flourish here?
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm on a townhouse project right now in Archbold, and they're gone. Like, we can't keep them in. But it's a mix of, people that are downsizing that want to now be in they want no maintenance, no nothing. But same thing, I'm guilty. I live in a townhouse. I don't want to cut my grass. I don't want to do any of that. So I love having that because I could move on with my weekends. Like, that's one less thing I have to worry about, So I think that's the other thing that's really nice. And all the condos too, the Rinaldis. I am fortunate enough that I got in to buy a condo downtown in the Renaissance building.
Lackawanna Avenue is beautiful.
Yeah, and I lived there. That was my first house, and I loved it, and I was able to keep it and rent it out. But, there's a few that were just for sale, and I just sold them to two younger 30-some-year-old men. One is a local firefighter, and the other one is moving here because he's going to be a physician, and they wanted downtown living, but they wanted to buy, know? Yeah. So it was really nice that was an opportunity for them. Like, they could both walk to work essentially if they wanted to, Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity here. I mean, as far as the inventory goes, it's low. It's tough.
The firemen could hitch a ride too.
Oh yeah, they can hitch a ride. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. But the thing is, I think the inventory right now it's still just as bad as it was during the pandemic. I shouldn't say bad. I don't want to, but there's nothing. Like, it's going as fast as it's coming on.
Yeah.
So
that's a great thing.
It's a good thing to have.
Local economy.
Yeah.
It's a great thing for. It's a great thing for everybody, really.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is, and thankfully
you may be a buyer now. You'll be a seller at some point.
Right. Exactly. So. And, that's the one thing too. The one thing I always say, and I tell all the agents in our office too, the best thing you can do is give great advice, and make sure you're always acting in your client's best interest, because especially on a buying side, you're going to have to remember that they're eventually going to have to sell that house. So you got to make sure you're doing within reason right now for what they could get out of it in the future. So I think that's always something too, to make sure that your realtor knows the market, and they're not just making you buy to buy. I guess is the best way to say.
So you're with a firm, and we've got a lot of big firms, but you're with a firm, ERA, with Sunita, that has about 100 agents.
Between our 5 offices, yeah.
So there's even competition within the office, obviously.
Yeah, no. I feel like everyone has their own. Right,
I don't mean in a negative way.
Yeah,
I find competition to be
healthy,
stimulating,
yeah,
and good.
Absolutely.
That probably does help a lot, that there's people you can watch and say, I learned something today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's what I always said. This business, you learn something new every day. And everything's always changing, because it's just the nature of the beast too in this business, because there's just so much stuff that constantly is changing and fluid. Obviously you're always going to have to buy a house with the loan or cash or whatever. There's always going to be the same contracts, but there's always different lending products. There's always different ideas. There's ways to get creative. So I just think that that's the one thing, you could learn something from someone in the office, that maybe they want to bid this way and they could teach you to do it something like this, or this is how they sold their house this way, or they used this different kind of marketing. So yeah, it's a good competition. And I definitely think it's, like I said before, the dynamics in our office is a lot of fun. I never ever, I'm like, oh, I have to go to work. I'm always like, wait, I have to get to work. I have to go tell someone this funny story or something like that. So it's more of a family vibe, where we are. And I just think that it's a great work environment too.
Now, we talk competition. There's so many other firms, all that. You go through this paper, and there's everybody else, and realtors. Everybody knows a realtor,
right?
At least people who live here for a while. In the old days, at least at my perception, I could be wrong on this. I'm talking about my mother's day, the 80s, 90s. It seemed as though there was a lot more part-time. And now seems like a lot more full-time real estate agents.
Yes. You could still do a part-time. It just depends on what level you want to be at, as far as what your capacity is and what you can handle. I started off part-time, but when I did part-time, I did strictly friends and family. I didn't want people I didn't know. I didn't have the time for it. So now I definitely am seeing a lot more full-time, because the demand here is a lot more for, people moving into the area. So that's, I guess it changes with the style and the way the market's going too.
So if I'm in high school or I'm in college or I'm looking for something to do, maybe a different kind of job, different type of career, what does Leah Gianacopoulos say to me in terms of advice, how to go about becoming a realtor, how to go about getting into the real estate business as an investor, and as maybe even as a manager? How do I go towards real estate as a career?
So if you're looking at it from a career as wanting to be in my shoes, you do the schooling and all of that, but then you want to find a firm that you're going to have training, that you're going to have the resources to. And again, it goes back to, do you want to do a full-time or do you want to do a part-time? I mean, you want to find a firm that you're going to comfortably fit in, that's going to have the resources and the dynamics and everything that they could teach you to do what you want to do. As far as like the investing side too, like that's a whole other gamut, because just getting into the real estate investing side, like you have to know what you want to buy and how many units, or, that's a whole other thing too. But as far as wanting to become a realtor, I definitely think that you should focus on the training. And that's the thing too. I started listening to like all different podcasts now on real estate, all different blogs I follow. I read Inman every day. I read the Harvard Journal. There's all these, like Keeping Current Matters.
How about those goofy shows with
I love them. It's so not true, but
okay.
I mean, no.
I don't watch them, but you can't help see them.
I like one better than the other because it is actually more of the day-to-day, but I mean, their commissions out in Beverly Hills are, it can be done for the year with one house, but it's totally different the way, no, it's not reality, I guess is the way I could say it. So, but I mean,
it's not reality, it's reality TV.
It's just reality TV. Yeah, there's a huge difference. So I guess they're fun to watch though, but I'm like, that's not how it goes. Yeah. But there is some though, some points it is like that, but the other drama that goes on with their personal life, no. And I don't want to know about it either in the office. I'm not a therapist, I'm a realtor.
But you'd recommend it?
Yeah. I think you have to also really have a passion for it and also understand this isn't a 9 to 5. You don't get PTO is not a thing. Yeah. I was away for one of my best friend's bachelorette parties, but the laptop and everything else went with me. And so did dedicated hours every morning and every afternoon to checking emails and following up with clients and answering other realtors and everything else back. So but I didn't mind it. I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. And all my friends now bust me too. They're always sending me those memes going on vacation with the realtor or something like that. But I'm also fortunate that I date a realtor. So that also helps. So he can never get mad. Yeah.
Hey, something, it's not on the real estate subject at all, actually. Younger generation, you mentioned going away to a bachelorette party. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was young, we went to some local bar.
My mom says this all the time.
And I get a kick out of bachelor parties and destination weddings and all these kinds of things. It's a different deal.
Yeah. I'm working for weddings, jealous. I guess. No. But yeah, no, I mean, we have 2 destination weddings coming up this year.
Yeah.
2 more bachelorette parties. So it's all fun. I mean, I guess it makes it fun, So
yeah. It's just a different, it's funny to see how different generation views things. What other things, you grew up in a traditional household, and what other things do you see that are different with today's generation? Or do you think the people are the same, just maybe the circumstances are a little different?
Yeah. I yes and no. I think that, I guess too, it depends on how you were raised is a big thing too. I was raised where I think the cell phones, I can only imagine if I was growing up with a cell phone in my household and how that would have went over at dinner time. Besides, not well.
Unless you were making big sales back then.
Right. At 10 years old, yes, definitely, I'm sure. But my mom will tell you that I used to always try and sell my perfume to her when I was little. And I'd be like, do you want to buy this? If she would tell me. So she always told me and my father that I had a niche for sales back in the day because I would always barter with them to get my way or ask them. And my dad would always be like, wow, we're in trouble. Which
eventually became, that's just Leah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And my dad tells the story all the time about when I screwed up something with Comcast and they were like, oh, who is your daughter? And they're like, yeah. And my dad's like, yeah, she's 22. And they're like, wait, what? Like, they were just so confused as to like why my father was trying to fix my issue, and because I screwed something up so majorly. But he's just like, but they always say from a young age that I was always like trying to sell them something or barter with them, or like, you know, my mom's like, you had it in your blood since you were little. So, but yeah, no, growing up with, I think today is still, when I did versus today is definitely very different. I mean, there's just, I guess from a technology standpoint too, and what these kids are able to do. I mean, for one of the 4th of July parties, there was a bunch of younger kids there, and we had the 5-year-old trying to take the group photo with all the adults, and they knew exactly what to do. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, you know? So it is definitely different, but I definitely think too, to a point, you have to keep the traditional values too going. I think that's a very important thing in today's households, you know. Obviously, technology is not going anywhere, and it's only going to advance from here. But I think the other thing is to definitely stick to traditional values and roles and keep those in line, so that, you know, every other generation can keep those.
We're moving in the right direction, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, which way?
Well, no, real estate.
Oh, real estate. Yeah,
business.
I didn't know.
Real estate business, because business and jobs and all that thing interacts and causes activity in your business. So you do see the entire economy, maybe the major part of the economy.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So local economy, you think?
Yeah, I definitely think we're definitely doing well. Yeah, I definitely think around here, and I think, like I said, it all goes back to the opportunity that our area is being able to present. And, you know, the one thing in our company, we have a relocation company. So we get business from outside the area of everyone moving in. So, you know, there's like several factories that I didn't even know were even opening or how big they were until I was relocating all of these people up here, because they're all starting up here with X, Y, and Z. And I'm closing on one next week for another big corporation up here. And after that, there was 4 other people from this same company that is relocating up here. So I guess I'm seeing it in a way that we're definitely doing something right, because we're getting so many people up here.
You touched on something that I've been wondering about. Okay, I see Chewy and I see Amazon and I see these distribution centers, and I think that's our future.
Definitely.
But can that typical worker, if they put their nose to the grindstone, take some overtime, so forth, can they afford to buy a house in this market? Are they at pace with, or
there's definitely still, yes, there's opportunity for, I think, everyone, depending on what you're looking to buy. You know, because there's opportunity as far as maybe someone wanted to buy something, a little fixer-upper, and, you know, that they get to call theirs and keep it as a rental down the line. Or maybe they want to buy a multi-unit where they can live on one side and have the other side pay their mortgage. So I think there's opportunity for everyone still in this area, which is nice.
Tell me if this sounds insane. My first house, I think, was $50,000.
What were the specs? How many bedrooms?
3 bedrooms, 2-car garage. Not much of a lot, done more. And, you know, I think I bought it for 50, sold it for 55 a year and a half later or something, you know.
How many bathrooms?
1 at that time. Yeah, didn't matter as much because
probably be triple
the kids
now.
were just coming.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
Triple now. Yeah. So I just sold one in Dunmore. It was around 170 with those specs.
Yeah.
So crazy, right? So insane.
And it's still, that's the key though. It's still reachable with a working class.
We have to be, and you have to be. Our medium home sale, honestly, the average home sale here is $193,000. That's our average price, because we're not LA. You know what I mean? We don't have $1 million houses to sell every day. We're definitely, that market is definitely picking up, that higher end market here.
I've seen,
it's crazy. I mean, if you look at the back page of what we've, that's our high end market, that page. And
$2 million house in here.
It's crazy. Yeah. But it's so that area is definitely picking up as far as the high end luxury market goes. But also we still have our bread and butter is those 200, 250, 150. That's the norm for our area. So no, that's not going away. The problem is those houses are the ones that are flying the fastest. They're going that day with multiple bids over and above. So they're still happening all the time.
Leah Gianacopoulos, thank you so much. You're an optimist. I say this show is about talking about the good in this area, and you certainly did that for us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Had fun.
All right.
Road Scholar Transport, a higher standard.
Thanks for being part of the program. You've got an appointment every Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on WNEP TV. The Bob Cordaro Show on TV.
Justice and liberty. It's the Bob Cordaro Show on TV.